Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is March 14, 2022. The sun is in Pisces today. This is the last week of the sun's transit through Pisces. So this is really like the month of Pisces in review. We can feel like an intensification of those vibes of Pisces that are really about rest, reflection, tying up loose ends, and being creative in a way that helps us feel ready to get started again. So the last week for the sun in Pisces, and Jupiter and Neptune have been in Pisces all this time. They will remain in Pisces after we leave. Neptune will stay in Pisces for quite some time, and Jupiter will go back and forth between Pisces and Aries this year. So that'll be an interesting shifting back and forth between, expanding through creativity and expanding through initiative. And with that said, also Mercury is in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces brings sort of color and creativity to our thoughts, plans, and communications, although it might be at the expense of some sort of directness in our ability to communicate, or clarity in our ability to plan. And it's worth mentioning again here that Pisces is the end of the zodiac, so we're really kind of at the we're in the last week of the zodiac year. When we make the shift next week into Aries, we'll be beginning the zodiac year again with the spring equinox, which is where that begins. So, this is a time to reflect on how the sun in Pisces transit has gone for us. What have we been creating? What kind of, shifts have we made? What kind of slack have we given ourselves sort of at the end of this cycle here, so that we can rest and be ready to gain some initiative and forward motion when the sun enters Aries next week. And the moon is in Leo, and when the moon is in Leo, in our inner lives, we celebrate, we appreciate what we have and those around us, and we demonstrate our affection and really our power to help people at this time, putting forward our best ability to be a good person in the world, to show people what we've got to give, and to sort of just shine and be as wonderful for others as we can. The waxing crescent moon invites us to take action at this time. So we've been working on some goals, we made some plans, we're taking action to culminate those goals, and hopefully we'll have some partial or full culmination of a goal around the full moon coming up on Friday. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the aspects, but first I want to point out that there is a legend on the side. So if there's a symbol on the page that you don't understand, it is probably in the legend, and you can look there to get a name or a word that associates with it. And otherwise, I have divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives. This is how it feels to be in our body, hearts, and minds. It's our relationships with ourselves and the relationships we have in our home space. It's really about those things we think, feel, know, and intuit. And these lunar aspects are very brief. They take about 2 hours. And again, those have more to do with those things that we think, feel, know, and intuit, but that don't necessarily find expression. Now, for some of us in the world, it's like what comes up comes out. But for some of us in the world, also, we're in the habit of, okay, I feel this, but that doesn't mean I'm going to express it that way. And so that's where expression begins, is sort of in the heart and in the body. The sun sheds light on our outer lives. That's more about who we are out in the social space, the civic space, in our workspace, the part of us that interfaces with the public. And I address the sun and the rest of the planet's aspects on this side of the page because they take longer than those lunar aspects and they have more to do with how we interact out in the world. And we begin with the moon today, Central Standard Time, friends. At 2:17 a.m., the moon makes an opposition with Mars, and then at 5 o'clock a.m., the moon makes an opposition with Venus. So you see these matching, Venus and Mars's matching aspects with the moon are starting to sort of drift apart as they begin to drift apart in the sky. You could still get up early in the morning and see Venus, and you would see Mars nearby. But you know, where they were overlapping or sort of kissing, now they're steady moving apart. And what's happening actually is that Venus is the planet that moves faster, so Venus is pulling ahead of Mars now. And moon opposition Mars. So when moon is in aspect with Mars, we feel that drive to move forward, to pursue the things that we desire, to take action. And when it's an opposition, that can come across as a moody or irritable vibe. Like, I want to get at what I want to get at, and I really don't have the time or the patience to deal with anything that gets in my way. And that can be that can be a little hard on us because we have to interact with other people usually to get at what we want to get at, and people don't want to interact with us necessarily when we're in a moody or irritable way. So it's early. It's a very early morning aspect. Perhaps you'll be asleep and you won't even notice it. I hope that for all of us. But remember that these moody and irritable feelings, if you are susceptible to them, again, they're not something that really needs to be expressed in the outer life. It can be something that we deal with internally. And that doesn't mean just shove it down. It means acknowledge that you're feeling moody and irritable, and find a solution for expressing yourself in a loving way anyway, because that's what Leo wants us to do. And then moon opposition Venus. So when the moon is in aspect with Venus, we feel more open and receptive and desiring of love and affection. We want to attract toward us that those good feelings that we want, often from other people. And when it's in opposition, it's important to remember to maintain our high standards for ourselves. It's possible when the moon is in opposition to Venus to feel as though like any attention or affection will do. So I really regard this as a self-love challenge. If you cannot get the love and affection from your regular sources like your partner or your children or your pets, then it's time to really turn that back in on yourselves and give yourself the love and affection that you need, rather than dropping your standards and going and getting them from someone or someplace that is going to make you feel lousy about it later. And then at 2:02 in the afternoon, the moon makes a square with Uranus. So the moon in aspect with Uranus has us feeling often as though, we can make these quick, intuitive changes. We see changes that we can make, and we can move very easily in that direction. It's always important in the inner life, if you have partners in your domestic space, to communicate with the partners in your domestic space about changes and shifts that you want to make there. In the square aspect, though, this is a challenging vibe, and it tells us that we might be feeling sort of jumpy, impulsive, likely to make shifts and changes that are not necessarily in our best interest. So, if there's a shift or change that you're thinking about making at this time, especially during this 2-hour period from about 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., and maybe it's not the kind of thing you would normally shift to. Maybe it seems like way out there like Pluto to you, or way out there like Uranus. Give it a couple of hours and see how you feel before you go ahead and make that shift. And then on the sun side of the page, in the ongoing column, we have Venus conjunct Mars and Jupiter sextile Uranus. We've been talking about these for a few weeks at least now, and we'll be talking about them for a while longer. The 20th is just 6 days away now, friends. So after the 20th, we're still going to be feeling the effects of this, but it's going to be sort of in a more attenuated or in a sort of shadow phase after the big part of the aspect is gone. So Venus conjunct Mars conjunct really says that the planets are right together in the sky in the same sign. At one point they will overlap and they can sort of come together and then they drift apart again. And Venus conjunct Mars happened for us a couple of times in the last month. They actually came together twice. So Venus is our planet for receptivity. It's about what we want and how we can attract, how we can pull toward us the things that we most desire, that stuff we like, love, and can't get enough of. And that applies to love and affection, attention, friendship, but also applies to goods and services and finances, the money that we want to make, and just sort of calculating how we can get it to come to us. Whereas Mars is about taking action, and it's more of a bold, forward pursuit, sort of driven vibration. So this is really, we know what we want, and if we can't pull it to us, we'll go and get it. And that conjunct intensifies the energies of both of those planets. So also these are really sort of like a couple, and that can be a romantic partnership. It can also be a workplace partnership. They are in Aquarius right now, which is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So the focus in our partnerships has been toward, again, strengthening our foundations, especially where it concerns how our partnerships interact with the rest of the world and what our partnerships do to strengthen our friend groups, our family groups, our neighborhoods, our communities. And I was reflecting on it today, and it seems to me like partnership goals equal parenting goals. I don't talk a lot about parenting on here because I'm not a parent. I don't have any children, but a lot of people that I know do. So, of course, for a lot of you, you're in partnerships, and part of your partnership goals is just to raise these kids up in the best way that you know how. So, but even if you're not a parent, I invite you to think of your partnership goals as your parenting goals, and as those things that you're trying to develop and do with your partnerships as sort of your babies, whether they're literal babies or, they're pets, or they're just projects that you're working on or things that you're trying to do within the context of those relationships. What are your babies and how do you care for them, right? That's the same thing as saying, what are my goals and how am I going to go about achieving them? But especially with the moon in Leo, there's this sort of vibe of like, how do I give you all of the nourishment that you need? How do I shine like the sun for you and allow you to grow green? That's really very much the vibe of Venus conjunct Mars right now. And then Jupiter sextile Uranus tells me that these shifting foundations require a positive mindset. So Uranus is the planet for shakeups that wake us up to shifts and changes that we can make, hopefully for the better in our lives. And it often comes on intuitively, like an aha moment or just an opportunity that comes before us, and we say, okay, if I do that, that will make this part of my life go easier for me. And Uranus, as I discussed the other day, has been in Taurus all this time. So Taurus is very interested in security. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So it's very much about security, and it's about having the things that you need and desire. And with Uranus hanging out in there have been a lot of shifts just in our security structures for a while now. So definitely, probably, we are all feeling some shifts in our foundational structures one way or another. We've been changing where we work, or changing how we work, or, moving houses. Things have been changing in our families and our lives. And this sextile relationship with Jupiter here is a really positive vibration that says, when you make changes for the better, good fortune comes from that. Positive outcomes, expanded experiences. We grow into a bigger, more expanded version of ourselves that hopefully works better for us and brings more resources into our lives. So stay on your toes and be ready to jump at any of those expanding opportunities that you see. Coming up on Thursday, Mercury is going to make a sextile with Uranus. So again, we were just talking about Uranus and these shifts and changes that come up for us, and how it's in Taurus, it's ruled by Venus. It's about what we'd like to receive. It's about feeling secure, in terms of having enough love, enough money, enough friendship, enough connection, just enough of what we would like to have in our lives. And Mercury in this sextile relationship is going to be about having thoughts and plans and communications regarding how to receive what we'd like to receive. And again, Mercury is in Pisces right now. So Mercury is strengthened because it's in the same sign as Pisces. And it's also more creative and a little less direct in its ability to plan. So this should be an interesting sort of creative project, being able to plan for the shifts that we want to make, and have conversations about the shifts that we want to make. And then coming up on Friday, we'll have that full moon in Virgo. Guys, there's so much more coming up this week than just these things, but I didn't want to crowd the page. So we'll have that full moon in Virgo on Friday. That'll be the time of culmination, either full culmination or partial culmination of our goals that we've been taking action on, so that we can celebrate what we have, what has come to us, what we have achieved, and, sort of look back at how the month has gone for us, have a little celebration, and then begin to sort of revise our plan going forward. And coming up next Sunday, the sun is going to make ingress into Aries. That will be our spring equinox, the beginning of a new season. And hopefully about that time, we'll see more flowers blooming and things will start to warm up for us as well. Okay, so those are the aspects for today. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out and listening to the aspects. If you're still with me 17 minutes in, I appreciate that too. Please like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, click that notification bell. And, if you know somebody that this might resonate for, somebody who loves astrology or somebody who might just appreciate the affirmation that they're not the only ones going through what astrological energies are affecting us all, please go ahead and share the video. Also, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments section below. I love to see your comments, and I see them and I respond to them. So yes, please do that. At this point, I'm going to shift to talking a little bit about some tarot. And first, we're going to talk about the tarot card on the side of the page, and then I'm going to throw a tarot card to sort of cover the energies for the day. The tarot card on the side of the page today is the Ten of Cups. And Ten of Cups really represents sort of fulfillment, happiness, having achieved some creative goals and some emotional goals. It gives us a sense of unity with our family and loved ones and with the world around us. We all feel sort of good about what we have achieved. And again, that's on an emotional and creative level. So understand that your emotions and your intuitions and your inspiration and creativity, your connectedness, these are all gifts. These are all resources that come from within. You know, your love is a boundless resource that you can pull from within. And when you use your love as a resource, when you use your emotional connections as a resource, when you use your creative flow as a resource, you can build wonderful things for yourself. You see this picture is sort of like a happy family, and it looks like they have, a piece of land and maybe a home by a spring there. So, they put a lot of their creative energy into having a stable foundation for themselves. And there's a rainbow there to sort of signify, hey, you got something to celebrate. So they stop and celebrate. I love the energy of that card. Very happy, fulfilled vibe. And I wish it for you, for all of us, actually. And now I'm going to get ready to throw a card for today. First, I'm going to mix up these cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Pisces. Last week of Pisces, folks. And Neptune and Jupiter, Pisces co-ruling planets, are also there, representing an expanded flow of inspiration and intuition to give to our creative bent at this time. And then Mercury is also in Pisces, which sort of raises the creativity level around our conversations and our plans, but might make it a little more difficult to communicate directly. And then Moon in Leo asks us to celebrate and dramatize our love for others and our love for our personal life, our love for ourselves and the people that we keep close to us, while we are waxing gibbous moon, taking action toward the culmination of our goals. Neptune's aphelion, a time when our connections are felt as an undercurrent. And I did not speak to that yet today, guys. So Neptune reaches its aphelion at 3:08 in the morning. Okay, Neptune takes 165 years to go through all of the signs, which tells us it takes 165 years for it to get around the sun. So about every 165 years it reaches its aphelion. It's been out there sort of at its farthest point from the sun, and it has just now reached its farthest point from the sun. And from here, it's going to start coming back toward us, back closer to the rest of us. So while it might while those connections, while that feeling of connection to spirit and humanity might be felt more as an undercurrent than sort of an overwhelming urge, that inspiration might be more of a low, steady flow than an overwhelming flow. That's probably a good thing considering the intensity of Neptune being in its home sign of Pisces right now. And, just don't be frightened if you are not feeling that sort of overwhelming connection, especially to spirit at this time. The connection is still there. It is still present for us. It is just attenuated. It is far away. And so those energies take a longer time to get to us. And Venus conjunct Mars, partnership goals, parenting goals. Think of your goals, your projects in terms of being your babies, and ask yourself what you're doing to nurture them. What you're doing in terms of receiving what you need, pulling toward you what you need, and also pursuing what you want to have out of those projects or those children of yours. And then Jupiter sextile Uranus is a time of expanding possibilities and good fortune when we make changes for the better. On the moon side of the page in the inner life, we have some difficult looking aspects. So if you're one of those people who are susceptible to those lunar aspects, to those sort of ambient energies that affect our feelings and our moods and our intuitions, that's okay. You might find yourself feeling a little struggle bus on the inside today. Might be feeling a little moody, a little jumpy, a little extra needy at this time. It's really a time to attend yourself, to look within, to think about, what your reasons are for wanting to pursue things, what your reasons are for needing what you need, desiring what you desire, and giving extra thought to the shifts and changes that you'd like to make. And with all of that said, I'm going to turn this card. The Four of Rods. Okay, so rods or wands relate to the fire element, and fire is very Mars. It's very about passion and pursuit. It's also a Leo. Leo is fire. So it's about your ability to shine. It's about being bold. And the Four of Rods really represents sort of It's sort of a culmination of resources, right? It's a moment in time where we feel that we have everything we need and we can take a break and even have a little bit of a celebration. So there's an element of the Ten of Cups here in the Four of Rods, where the Ten of Cups has more to do with emotions and intuitions. Four of Rods has more to do with like inspiration, fire, and drive. So if there is something that you would like to do, and for me there's, even though Pisces is water, there's almost a Pisces vibe to it too, because it's a time to sort of relax in a creative way, pursue a good time with some people that you care for, and really celebrate. Leo, celebrate who you are, celebrate the people who are around you, dramatize and demonstrate your affection for them, and really just enjoy the day. I love that energy for us, so I'm going to leave it at that. My name is Mel Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.